and again, and it's autumn, so less growing's happening. But Peter is here to tell us what we might be able to do at this season to prepare the garden for winter, or even do stuff in preparation for spring. So I'll just
Hi there. Quite often people walk past the garden at this time of year and say, oh, there can't be much for you to do now. But of course, gardens never lie still. There's all the preparation work to do outside to get the gardens ready for next spring, but we'll have another vlog about that one. But this one here is just one or two things that you can do now which will be able to give you earlier crops next spring, probably about June time. And the first one is garlic cloves. Now, apologies to the seasoned gardeners out there who probably know all of this stuff anyway, but you can buy garlic cloves at this time of year in the garden centres, garlic bulbs I should say, because the individual bits that we use in the cooking preparation are called cloves. And these will be next year's garlic bulbs. And if you actually see on the packet it says plant in autumn. Now, it's simple enough. You fill a pot to within about 2/3 of the top and gently put the garlic clove in, put a little bit of compost around so that there's just the tip of it showing. Now, another advantage of doing this is for any of the gardeners who've experienced the disease of onions and garlic in their gardens and leeks called white nose, which is a fungal rot of the base of the plant which tends to rot them off in the ground and they're absolutely useless, they can't store. Using this method, it means that the roots come out of the bottom of the bulb and put a fair bit of growth on, and so that acts as a certain amount of protection against any white nose that there might be in the ground. The other good thing about it is that the growing season is started very early, and so perhaps the white nose is not quite as active earlier on in the year. And these can be stored in a cold frame or a cold greenhouse or even a windowsill in the house until you're ready to plant them out outside. You can put them directly into the soil if you've got a bed prepared already, but this is just a good way of making sure that you've got something going before you think, oh well, that's it, nothing else to do now. The other thing we can do at this time of year is to sow broad beans. Again, they can go straight in the ground, and if you see on the back of the packet it actually says that you can sow them in October to November. And again, sowing them in pots is a good way of getting them an early start and making use of any space until space in the garden is ready to be planted. Some people advocate soaking the beans before sowing them, as this makes them plump up quicker. The only thing was it's a critical time for it, because if you leave them too long they start to ferment and the bean will rot. So belts and braces, maybe do some with the seed going directly into the compost and maybe some that you'll soak overnight. And it doesn't really matter which way up, but it's general rule that you put the fat end down first, because that's the roots will come out and go straight down. If it was upside down it wouldn't matter, because through a process of the gravity acting on the root it will always go down. And again, they want to be down the depth that they are long, so at least an inch or so down. Tap the pot rather than firming it. And then these, if the compost is moist enough, the garlic shouldn't really need watered to begin with until it starts to make roots, because you don't want it to be sitting in wet compost. The beans, however, will need a bit of a watering, and from now on you just have to make sure that they're kept in a fairly warmish place. If there's any risk of frost, for example, then they try and protect them. A bit of fleece would probably help. And then they should start to show the green about maybe 2 to 3 weeks time. So there you go, how to make use of space that you might have kicking about and to also get ready for next spring.
So these, you'd want to plant them out before the winter starts, really.
Before the really cold weather comes along. And
protect it
and
with
protect
fleece
it with some
or
horticultural fleece. The other thing you've got to watch out for, of course, is little mice raiding
yes,
and
yes.
stealing your beans.
Yes.
So perhaps some kind of box with a bit of chicken wire over the top just to store them in until you're ready to plant out would help too.
Okay. Well, thank you. This is quite informative.
Okay, we'll
Okay.
see you outside in the garden next time we do a vlog.
Okay.